Hello, everybody. My name is Andy Thomas Emons. I'm the Strategic Director of the Tarsus Labels Group and the Gulf Print and Pack Group. I'd like to welcome you to today's session. I'm entitled Label and Package Printing in the MEA Region, New Technologies and Overcoming the Challenges. So this is the first in our series of virtual roundtable discussions designed to tackle the pressing issues in the label and package printing industry in MEA. And future roundtable discussions will focus more on the commercial print side and the wide format side, but today we're going to focus really more on label and package printing. So I think it goes without saying that in this region, along with everywhere else in the world, has been significantly impacted by the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic in the last few months. So the purpose of today's discussion really is to explore how the industry is adapting in the MEA region and to share this insight both from a supplier and printer perspective. I'm very happy to say we have a fantastic panel here today to do that, and I'd like to start by asking them each to introduce themselves. So let's start off with Mr. Roger Nicodeme. Roger is General Manager of Heidelberg in the Gulf. Roger.
Yes, hi, how are you? I first hope that everyone is okay with this pandemic. Well, my name is Roger Nicodeme. I'm managing Heidelberg Gulf establishment, and I've been in the industry for the past 30 years in the UAE, and another 5 years back in Lebanon. So 35 years in the printing industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. I'd like to introduce Shyam Babu. Shyam is Director of Neil Peter in the Middle East.
Thank you, Andy, for putting this together. I think I want to say hello to everyone, though virtually. I have a lot of familiar faces, but due to the pandemic, we missed the chance to see each other. So it's a nice platform to say hello. And a little bit about myself. I think some of you may know that I've been in the industry for plus minus 20 years now, and at the moment taking care of Neil Peter Middle East, supplying solutions for the label industry in particular. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Shyam. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Hassan Kitne, who is MD of Multi-Systems Technology.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Yeah, I've been with the printing industry since 1993, almost 25 years. Mostly, we started the business in large format, and before a short period, like 3 years back, we started the digital labeling distribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Mr. Pankaj Patel, the CEO of Printech in the Middle East. Pankaj.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Pankaj Patel. I have been in printing industry for around 30 years in various formats, like Exo, narrow web labels with Omet and Prati in Middle East, as well as corrugated carton and offset industry in the part way. So we have been supporting industries across the complete gamut of packaging called into different formats. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Jay Chaudhry. He's the MEA Strategic Consultant, Labels Division of Printech. Jay.
Hi, hope you all are safe. And yes, as this is a challenging time and we are all not able to meet up face to face, but this is a good channel, a good way for us to all meet up and discuss and have a good conversation. I'm basically a printing engineer from India, from Pune. I was working over there with Tetra Pak in the production department before I joined Printech, which was in 2004. So from the last 16 years, we have been in the market now, and we are working with various converters, especially on the label side. I'm handling the label division for Printech. So Omet and Prati is what I'm handling at present. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And so those are our panelists from the supplier side of the industry. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Vinesh Bhimani. I've known for very many years, myself and Mike Fairley. Vinesh, I wonder if you would like to briefly introduce yourself. Vinesh, as you all know, is the owner of Kimo Entrepreneurs Limited in Dubai. Vinesh.
I'm only the printer, and I think I'm customer of everybody. You know,
that says it all, more or less.
And I like to see my partners are very smiling and very good, so I'm happy about it. And Andy, it's very nice to see you today personally with our colleagues. And yes, we are looking forward to have an interesting session, because I am only the printer and others are all supplier. So it's really one side of the game. They are more, so you be with me.
Oh, and you'll be happy on all of us, sir. I can be very sure.
You are the most important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm 32 years in the printing industries.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vinesh. The format this is going to take is shared some questions here with the panelists, and I'm just going to go through those questions now. Everybody, please feel free to chip in, to make any comments. So first question that we're going to start with is, I guess, a general question, really. The thing that interests so many people at the moment, how has your MEA business been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic? And maybe Roger, perhaps you'd like to kick things off for us.
Actually, it was a great year. Well, to tell you frankly, no one can say that business was not affected. It was affected, but let me put it in that perspective. We are servicing the commercial and we are servicing the packaging and label industry. For the commercial it was affected big time. And most of our commercial printers are at 20, 30, 40% of their capacity working. Now, for the packaging, we noticed that there was, conflicting reports coming from some of our printers. Some of them are doing better even because of the local supply increasing, and some of them have suffered because they could not re-export. But overall, that industry was not as affected as the commercial industry. That's it.
And is that the same in the labels and the cartons?
Well, yeah, well, when I talk about packaging, it includes labels as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Vinesh can confirm if they were much affected or it was okay.
Sure. Well, Vinesh, perhaps you'd like to go next.
Yeah, you know, this it has affected to everybody, because we have just gone through the very new cycle which we never faced it. You know, major business in segment like events, aviation, hospitality, retail is affected in really absolutely went zero. Like, you know, aviation becomes zero, events become zero, hospitality become, you know, this was then. And, you know, virtually airlines and everything is standstill. And we don't know how it's going to be increasing or when we are going to start. And it's not going to be the near future, and it will be the absolutely new way of working now. And, you know, traveling will be less, it's required only then can be done. Events are going to be virtual, or, you know, it's not going to be you know, very soon that people will come in the numbers and they meet. So it is definitely affected. But other side of it, I can say that, as Roger said, there is a business in hygienic, cosmetic, and other things. that has increased because you know that segment is not everything is standstill. We are not closed one day business in these days. We were running around business. So it was everything was going, our team was working, our family was working, but definitely reduction in the business has come down and a lot of new challenges are we had to face it a lot.
And did you find that your supply chain, Vinesh, was affected? The supply of materials, inks, varnishes?
We could manage with some of our stock and some material and everything was coming through. We are very lucky. We are in Jebel Ali free zone and the ports were working normally. And we had a fantastic support from Jebel Ali free zone. They given us the permission to run in these days because that time absolutely lockdown was there. And because of our essential supply to the like dairy and the food industries and you know the chemicals or whatever it may be, it has really given us permission to function this one. So it was not very much affected at all.
Thank you, Vinesh. Shyam, I wonder whether you could give your perspective from Anil Peter's point of view.
Well, I think I simply very much agree to Mr. Vinesh Bhimani, and he's of course, the industry leader, and we look upon him to any experience that he possesses, and it helps us in forming our own actually. And from a supplier perspective, if we collect some experiences from various other customers in the region, including Saudi and some neighboring GCC countries, I would say most of the customer has a similar experience. But there's one point I would like to emphasize is that this customer who had this access to I would say they were lucky enough or smart enough to have the diversification of the business in various industries. They managed to, I would say, take the advantage of the demand of the hygienic and the other improving business domains. But those who were actually stuck with the, domains which were supposed to be affected by COVID-19, they have taken some serious amount of challenges to face with. So, but this is from the, larger customer base perspective, larger region perspective. Not everybody is Kimoha, and we know that very well. I mean, there's only one Kimoha in region that we know of. But many small customers had dedicated customer lines, like they had 1 or 2 or 3, 4 selected customers that they were kind of supplying to. Such small companies took some time to find new jobs, or let's say deal with these existing players, or rather give their proposals to acquire their businesses. So there was mixed feeling in the market, but overall those who could manage to serve the essential market, and label in general, I would say as a majority, serves the more or less the essential market, apart from of course the special applications to be aside, like events, or I would say the for that matter airlines, is not everybody can do the those applications. So I would say we very much agree to what Mr. Bhimani said, and yes, some customer took a toll because they were not well positioned, and some managed to survive, and they are printing. They are still running on. The show is going on, basically, I must say. We have also been selling because of those segments doing okay. We managed to cover our sale, which we generally used to do in normal years. Although it has been tough and challenging, but we managed to pull through.
Thanks, Shyam. Hassan, I wonder if you could say how things have been from your perspective.
Yeah, actually, during lockdown, it was really very hard for everyone, either UAE or the region. After the lockdown, we noticed that there is newcomers to the market. There is a lot of startups, people, they want to start their business with digital labeling. They just want to service short runs. A lot of end users, let's say shampoo factory or cheese factory, somebody who will do something, or honey shops. They want to start doing labeling in-house. So we notice a lot of inquiries, lots of demands in the market for short-run digital labeling. And we are in the, let's say, the entry level of the labeling. And our customers' quantities from 1,000 up to 20,000 labels a day, let's say. So we notice a lot of inquiries in this. Big growth. The online business now is getting much better than before because people they tend to buy online, and they are willing to buy online as well. They want to sell online. So we could see that this is the good effect of coronavirus for our business. Okay, I know it was very hard, very difficult, but we could see a lot of potential with the current change. Understand? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I don't know whether Pankaj or Jay, whether you want to talk about from Printex point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, even I completely agree with most of the panelists that everybody has been affected due to this pandemic. But again, the quantum of effect, how we have affected, so either as an industry, if we look at a glass is half full or half empty. So thank God that we are not in airline industry or a travel and tourism industry, and we have been packaging. So we have, as we have been supporting the essential commodities like food, pharma, as well as personal hygiene. Yeah, that as a packaging industry, yes, everybody had been running, and many of our customers have gone an extra mile regardless of lockdowns and so on. Like Chemo and quite few of them, even in carton industry and so on, they have been constantly supplying to. And we keep the factories running, made before food, made before pharma, made before. And that has been also an interesting period for us because, again, one side there are restrictions, but then also the way people are finding different ways and innovating the ways to move forward, as Hassan said. So that way, even we see a big growth in online or direct marketing and online distribution for right from groceries to, so that way even some of our corrugated customers, because the borders had closed and there were no moment of ways to produce their goods and ship it to GCC or Saudi Arabia or export, but see local consumption in terms of boxes or packaging or labels and so on. People were trying to find different ways to at least keep things going, and that's what is the most important thing about entrepreneurship, that they are able to find some interesting ways to move forward. Yeah, so that was a very good learning curve for us as well. Yes.
Thank you. Jay, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think I agree with Pankaj and the rest of the team. Mr. Vinesh Bhimani gave us a good insight into how it's going, and few of the areas were affected, while few of the areas remain still good potential and growing. So yeah, that is how the market has been for us too. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for that general kind of introduction as to how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the label and packaging industry in the region. The next question really is about how it's changed the way that we work. So obviously, for example, we've seen that machines are still being installed, machines still have to be serviced, spare parts still have to be moved around. Obviously, at the moment, it's difficult or impossible for engineers or service engineers to actually do those installations or servicing in person. So the next question that I'd like to ask is how do you think that the COVID pandemic will affect or has affected the way you worked? So, for example, remote installation, perhaps remote servicing, remote maintenance, or remote training by suppliers. So I don't know who'd like to start on that one.
Okay, I can give you my perspective. As far as we are concerned, first of all, we have a team of service engineers who can install machines. Now, of course, when it comes to special installations, sometimes you need a factory engineer, especially on the UV side or from the MK side from China. We had difficulties, especially bringing engineers from China. I'm talking not during the lockdown. I'm talking now. From Europe, it's easier. We managed to bring in some engineers to complete some installations, but from China it was more difficult. So it was not impossible, but it's a longer process. The cost is much higher. They have to go back into a lockdown. So the supplier will charge you all that. And the customers here, you cannot charge them all this cost. So you had to manage it in a way so that you bring in the engineer for a longer period. He will stay in the region, serve as many customers as possible, distribute the cost over a number of customers, or you absorb it through your sale to a number of customers, and then send him back. That is possible. But there was a lot of challenges. In terms of spare parts, it was okay because the airport in the UAE is open and there are flights. So whenever we needed a part, even if it was not available here in stock, we managed to get the part. Now, some installations we had to do it on a Zoom meeting, especially on new machines. We introduced mask making machines into our market from MK. So it was something new to our engineers. So we managed to do it because customers needed this product immediately. Even they agreed to ship the product by air, and we had to do immediate installation even during the lockdown. So we managed to do the installation with a Zoom meeting, and then when travels were okay, we brought in some engineers to check that everything was in place. But overall, we were successful in continuing the operation or serving our customers to the best levels during the pandemic. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I can add something to it because we have just done two installations ourselves, and I think, as Roger said very fairly, that it was easy for us to fly in engineers from Europe, and we did survive with that flexibility. But to attend this question about how it's going to be, we serve the industry where the equipments of various nature. There are big size industrial equipments like 10-color Heidelberg press or 10-color Omet or 10-color Nilpita. But we also serve in these machines a lot of the portion where much of the services support rather can be done on the software side. So that part will be now more encouraged through the service contract to look after the machines, whatever is possible to handle the machines more intelligently. Nilpita managed to put things together pretty much in time that much of our company's communication can be done online and much of the services are offered online. So from that point of view, customers were served well, and I'm sure the Omet has the capabilities and the Heidelberg and all other machines that can be connected online and served. But there are things like physical activities which need to be attended. There will never be a Zoom solution. And what I experienced in one of the Zoom solutions that we damaged more than doing it any better. That, of course, can be a special case as well, but it's not very easy to not to have the individual who's supposed to physically handle things and guide it online to ask him to do things. At times it can work, and at times it can also work into a wrong direction. So all in all, I would say that there is a section that can be deeply promoted now in the future due to this pandemic, where much of things, whichever is possible, will move towards the online service support systems. And whatever is much mandatory, which we used to actually do it earlier, the software part also through the trip, and we were happy to do business in a different style. That will shift travel possible online.
Right.
What we see.
Thank you. Hassan, do you have any comments there?
Yeah, I would say that it was an opportunity to to support our customers in online, because this was, let's say, 50% of our customers, we were installing them online. But during the COVID, during lockdown, it was 100% we were installing online. The good thing that we succeed in it is to do a live demonstrations. So daily we have live demos, and weekly we have webinars, we have a training. All of this is online. So I think this or COVID-19 helped us to build our online business, either technical, either marketing, in a better way than before, because we have to do it. It was built already since 10 years, 15 years, but this year it was really a major progress in this, either for the technical or either for the marketing. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Thank you. And either Pankaj or Jay, from Printex's point of view?
Yeah, for us also, we have always been believing that other side of the coin of challenge is opportunity, and I think both Omed and Prati and a couple of our partners really worked very strategically and hard to simplify things much more easier. So just to give an example, during this last 4 months, 5 months, we had a couple of installations all across the region. And also, so we had to break it down, also involve ourselves as well as these companies to simplify things to the level of, like, for example, McDonald's, that each and every process is very simplified. So wherever you go, you can get exact McDonald's, and that kind of accuracy is quite difficult to get in industrial. But people tried their best to make that simplified, and we could still install a 10-color machine in GCC offline, online, with support from engineers from Omed in Italy, our engineers, and the customer's engineers. So which, if somebody would have told me around 1 year back that this is possible, I would have laughed at it. But during the challenge, okay, that is something, possible. And when there is so it was a really good, interesting way for us to learn that how to push the limits. And I think same way, even everybody in supply chain, and even I think most of our other colleagues also from the industry had been, what we have heard from our customers, that Yannick, Peter, or Heidelberg, and everyone has been expanding their boundaries, which was not, so, and making sure that, okay, they are serving their customers and engaging. So even for us and all our partners, it was a very new way of engaging and supporting our customers with webinars, with online training, even training of the operators, which I think, and at times we feel that, okay, why we didn't think of it before? But again, there was no need, so there was. But now, moving forward, it will really help this kind of tools to our industry and to support and engage our customers remotely or wherever. And I also agree with Shyam that, not 100% we can support them when it comes to mechanical situations and all, but at least if we are able to sort their machines or issues out for 90-95% of the percentage or times out of 100, I think we still have much better than what we did before 1 year. So that way, as an industry, we all have evolved quite dramatically out of this. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we had a situation here where we were following the remote installation of I think it was an MPS press in Japan. So we were watching the Japanese, the local engineering company, following instructions over a webcam, from the guys in Holland. Of course, every time that a part of the press was installed, they could then effectively plug it into a computer. Then the guys back in Europe could then actually run those servo motors and actually kind of run tests on that machine. So I think a lot of this infrastructure, I remember going to GEW a few years ago and seeing they monitor all the lamps. Every lamp they install now gets monitored. They've never really kind of used that information before, but now they really are. It's the lamp on unit 4, we've had a 20% fall off in power. There's something wrong there. Some of the engineers can have a look. Maybe the lamp needs to be changed. So these are kind of amazing ways that things are changing. But Vinesh, from a printer's point of view, Obviously, you can't get personal visits now from company representatives or from service engineers. Has this impacted the way that you've been doing business?
Not really. We had a trained engineer in our factory, and we had a remote access to all the machines. So suppliers are already there. They all supply the machine which are good. And so far, we didn't have a challenge. And I say we are in lucky in Dubai. We had just last week, Neil Peter engineer do the service in our factory. They could fly to Dubai, and next day he was there, yearly contract, and he could do that. So it's the same thing if we want from either Heidelberg or Gallus or maybe Domet, Prati, whatever it may be. So the people are there if major breakdown comes out. But so far we are managing well because equipment are well maintained and we have a good service contract with the people, and access is available and trained people in our factory. We could ship from some machine from Dubai to Saudi Arabia, our new plant, and we have done it remotely, or people gone and done some engineer there, and we could do that.
Right, right. Fascinating. Thank you. And then also, we've also found that we used to only run our Label Academy masterclasses. We used to only run those at shows, the Label Expo shows. But and you can only ever obviously get 30 people in a room. But now we're doing those Label Academy modules online. That's a big change for us. We've had to kind of rethink the way that we deliver that training. But there's been a huge appetite out there for training and knowledge. And I've really sort of seen that in the last since the pandemic, since the lockdown. People do seem to be using the opportunity to kind of retrain internally or to train up people who didn't perhaps before weren't regarded as sort of people who might want that training. One issue that we've seen, I don't know if it's affected any of your gentlemen's operations, but if key employees, for example, have to be guarding, or perhaps they can't, have the COVID or the symptoms, or so suddenly you lose key employees, and it's a question of how you fill that space. We're going to talk in a little while about automation. I think is another kind of thing that's really another trend that's going to be pushed here. But the next question, and we've already answered this to an extent, but I'll ask it again. With the problems with certain markets for label converters, have label and packaging converters in the MEA been able to identify new markets and business opportunities during the current crisis? Anybody like to tackle that one? I think you're saying, Vinesh, have your markets stayed pretty much the same, or have you been looking at diversification?
We are just expanding in every manner, and the small jobs and on-demand jobs is increasing. So as we are in the Flexo business for the long run, as well as we are in digital. So it has helped us a lot to diversify and done the business more about it, very quick around deliveries, mock-ups. People want to test the market. So, this has helped us out in a certain manner. Yes, it's not easy today to put the new investment easily. But yes, there are market identified. You can do the branding. You can do personalization. That's what we have, a mix and match. Digital and Flexo we can do together. And that has given us a little more access and we become more innovative.
Great, thank you.
On my side,
yes,
I agree with what he said, that there is lots of short runs now started to show in the market, lots of short run personalization as well. So there is a major changes happening in the market, and Corona is accelerating this, which is beyond digital, all of this. Yeah.
And is that because the demand from the consumer end, that people want more personalized kind of products now, or is it to do with the supply chain issues that people don't want a warehouse at the moment? They have to react pretty quickly.
It's both. Yeah, it's both of them. But again, what I said before, that there is lots of new people. They are startups, or they want to start a business. They want to find new opportunities. So those guys, they want to start with short runs or small runs. Okay, when they want to do online personalization, and many of them, they will build a website and they start selling labels online. So whenever you want to sell it online, it will be personalized or either to be short runs. Yeah, so it applies with what he said.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, on what we're talking about, diversification, Shyam, there's obviously we've seen a move from the press manufacturers to machines that can handle a whole different range of substrates and materials, not just self-adhesive labels on narrow webs, but also shrink sleeves, even flexible packaging, e-mold labels. Have you seen in the MEA region any move to diversification amongst your customers?
Well, honestly, Andy, I know machine manufacturer are the second line in command. You know, the first line in command are our printers, and once they have a requirement of a certain type, and when the industry is behaving where you need multiple materials, you need different, you know, the behaviors of the materials to go in, different applications to go in, different width type to go in, different industry to come in. So I think we are also slowly learning that there are machines where there's more need now for the digital than it was ever before, to be very honest. Because I guess in the last 10 years, you would also see that from the Label Expo point of view as well, much of it was trying to shift to a digital, but there was a kind of a threshold that it wasn't really going through that firewall. Now, the Corona has managed to taken that firewall off and kind of managed the digital to come up to its new opportunities in a certain way. And of course, it's still the very beginning that people like to start seeing the stars in the clear sky. But we could definitely see that the ones which are going to make good deal, the one who are cost effective as an equipment, one who has a better short run, better cost of the inks, better printing, better handling of the softwares and entire, the ecosystem around it, they will surely make a good choice for printers, of course. Second, we see the combination will also making some sense to certain selected customers. But at the same time, people are more looking into the mid-size business from the label point of view. That's what we see as a very recent trend now, that those who are existing label printers or wants to go into the flexible, they like to be somewhere in middle. And that opportunity is opening up because now everybody wants to go in everybody's role. You see what I mean to say? That they want to print for possibly any applications they can. And these talks are taking place. I can assure you it's not as easy as it sounds, but these talks are taking place. So we as machine manufacturers are getting requirements of different behaviors of the machine that used to be earlier. And we can sense why it is. I hope the customers or printers rather can deliver from those equipments to the audience that they are looking at. But I think digital will surely find a way forward than where it was at its threshold. That's, we surely see it. And in one way or the other, it's gonna, and now Israel being open, I must say that there will be a lot of good players coming in and trying to support the industry.
Right, right.
So we do see that, yeah.
Roger, from Heidelberg's point of view, if you look at the carton market, for example, what are the trends that you're seeing there? Heard about the shorter runs trends. You're seeing that also in the packaging markets from Heidelberg's point of view?
Well, to tell you frankly, in the packaging market, still customers are opting for the long runs. They have high demands. I'm sure there will be short runs more and more coming into the market later on, but at the time being, customers are focusing on specialized products, niche products like IML mold labels. We had one very successful installation here, and other big carton packaging printers, they are still expanding on big machines, on long machines. They see the demand, and I think this trend will continue for packaging printers, but at the same time, there will be demand for short-run packaging, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so on the in mold is an interesting market. I was fortunate to be invited to Heidelberg in Germany to have a look at the in mold system, both the online and offline. In mold seems to be kind of one of these markets which has always promised to accelerate faster than it actually has done.
Yes.
What do you see the trends there, Roger? And if you look at the Middle East, what do you think is like to drive the adoption of in-mold labels from end user side?
Well, first of all, the in-mold label was adopted before, but most of the converters were buying the in-mold from Europe, from Turkey, from other places in Europe. Now they started printing in the Middle East. There are a few printing here, but now, maybe I should tell you Al Ghurair, they want for a very big machine from Heidelberg to print only in-mold. And they have now a number of customers for that. And I think they are quite successful as a start because, it takes time to set up the operation, to reach the volumes, but they were fast because of the COVID-19. It opened doors for them. They couldn't import material from Europe. They had to do it locally. So many people were looking for people like them to do the in-mold locally. And I think that in-mold, when you go to the supermarket now, many products have become in-mold. Like the ice cream, like the the halawa, a lot of things are in-mold. So this trend will continue to in that direction because the package looks much nicer. And it can be printed on short run, long run, the way they want it to be. So it's a trend that should continue. It will have, a future. Still, we are looking forward that not only one customer, but few customers in the area will go for the in-mold option very soon.
Very interesting. Thank you. Pankaj and Jay, have you noticed any amongst your customers, people moving into new markets because of the pandemic or using your technology in new and interesting ways?
Yeah, if I think in my customer base, I'm seeing that the demands are increasing from the customers. Customers who are doing a few jobs of few different types are now looking at different markets. They are looking to expand. They are looking to go into various flexible packaging. They're telling I can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So that is where we see the market really changing. So the demands on the printing machines are also going up, and also on the finishing processes. So now we see that once upon a time when the customer used to come with us with a very simple project, now he comes to us with a wide range of materials, a wide range of final products. So yeah, definitely this is how the market is going, and we can see that they don't want to lose any orders in the market. So wherever there is a requirement, they would like to work towards fulfilling it. So yeah, that is exactly what everybody is saying. And yes, I've seen that trend. A lot of customers are interested. A lot of IML inquiries. You're right. In-mold labels is really a very interesting product for them. Even PVC shrink sleeves, I see them more and more. They can give you a 360-degree coverage of the material as compared to the self-adhesive labels. So yes, it will be an interesting market even in the future as we move ahead. Yeah. Pankaj, anything from your side?
No, you have covered more or less, yes.
Yeah.
Great. Only one thing is that don't increase the price for us in the exhibitions because we are started doing well.
Yes, that is most important.
We just want to have some exhibitions, really. Yeah? Let's start there.
Yes.
Yeah, we get it.
They are not charging.
Yeah. Yes. So I'd like to turn briefly again. I know that we've touched on this in terms of technology trends, and obviously, you know, move towards digital and hybrid digital and flexo technology is a trend that we've seen at Label Expo. But if we were to ask you, if I was to ask you, what do you see maybe as being the 2 or 3 main trends in the machinery and in the printing and converting machinery sides? So Cheyenne, maybe you'd like to start there.
Well, to be very honest, as I told you in the very beginning, we serve a very niche market. We are not into various domains of the printing and packaging. We are very much in the short web and the mid web business. Very recently, we have moved into the wide web. What we understand that the automation and the intelligence of the machine has become a first very big demand, regardless to whichever the platform that goes in. Because as Mr. Vimani will agree that he understands the value for it, he realizes that in the future, perhaps it can be sister of COVID that can also stop the problem. I mean, bring the travel issues. So this can also be dealt very well. So, you know, this fear is leading towards a direction where there's more automation in a way or the other. There is a subconscious direction towards the more autonomous behavior of handling things. Second thing, what we see from the product point of view is that people like to do multiple things now, not as very specialized as used to be. They want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that also, a little bit of that also, as much as possible, and they want to make money as well. So not that you want to have a 430 width and then you want to lose on the profitability of the 600 mm, or you want to lose a profitability of the 10-inch machine. So they're trying to figure it out, the application solutions, like as our esteemed colleague said, the demand for the in molds and shrink sleeves. These printability is possible on multiple platforms, you know. But again, the finishing comes in action, and the behaviors of the material is to do with a lot, especially with the in mold materials and stuff. Customer expects that the machine should behave in a more multi-capacity behavior. That's what, from the packaging point of view, as far as the narrow and the mid web is concerned. This is has been a core discussions. We recently had a discussion at Nilpeter as well in terms of where the future of the products and stuff is looking at. This is where we see that we need machines which can be more adaptive to the multiple materials, machines which are more intelligent to handle the various materials, especially the printing quality and holding the registration in the right behavior. Many of the machines are capable to do a lot anyway, but perhaps push more limits to go even more thinner and go a little bit more thicker. So you get best of possibly everything which a customer can achieve from his proposition, and his sales team can bring the business of, let's say, 350 GSM, and he wants to run on the machine which can also do 8 micron. They are very interested if a machine can do that, because they do see that now the salesmen are running around quite possibly everywhere, anywhere. And the short run business, we do see that would rather move from the flexo world to digital. This we have a more or less confirmation now that earlier, due to not digital, Mr. Vimani can answer this much better than I do. Of course, he was very, his vision was much, sharper from, I think, 10 years I have seen him into digital. So he could see things, the value of the digital, much earlier than many of the printers in this part of the world. So of course, all his jobs, which are the short run, has shifted to digital, but there are many printers who do not have the investments to go into, let's say, or $250,000, or I'm sure Mr. Hassan can say that there are much more cheaper solutions today. Earlier, I remember a few years ago, you need to have plus minus $500,000 to think about digital press, a reasonable digital press. But today, that's not the case. You can talk about as small as Premera machine from $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and of course we can still go up to Domino's and stuff. So depend on the size of the customer. Short runs are moving towards digital. So that opportunity is no more belonging to Flexo. Okay, if you have special applications where you need to put 1 or 2 colors on Flexo and then run the digital inline, we see those applications Nilpita has been promoting from very early years. I think I remember Caslon 20 years ago was in display, was trying to do digital and the Flexo at the same time. But I think what didn't do well with that is that the demand for the applications was missing. Although there were some selected customers, I would say one of it in UK, they run this 24/7, this application. So it very much depended on the very selected customers, but now it has become more generic where digital has shifted, I mean, short run has shifted to digital, regardless to the place and the customer type, and the Flexo is doing what it's supposed to do. So Flexo has lost the chance of doing short runs because of the availability of the digital. Therefore, the machines of the Flexo has to behave more than what they used to do earlier. And we see mid-web demand coming up quite a lot to our business. We are in fact going ahead as well ourselves to as good as 600 mm plus width. So we're looking at those sizes ourselves as an Nilpita, where we never believed that anything we need more than 420, but we are now at that level. We are also into the business of wide web. We work with a company called a German company, very newly won. And we also really realize that even in the wide web, people look for a lot of flexibility. The behavior of the machine has to be very flexible. They want to seek more with the machines and not the very specific specialized job that they do currently, because perhaps they want to take the leverage of the possible changes that may happen and apply in the current investment in one way or the other. Although at times it's not very clear, it's a bit blur to figure things out, but demand for the equipments to be more smarter has been never this demanding than at this point in time, I would say.
That's interesting. We covered a story recently, a customer of yours, I think in Poland, I think, who running the press from an iPad, and I think that when we first saw that label expo, we thought it would be a bit of a gimmick, but actually now that now it's important. But now it's important that you don't touch the machine. We're trying to stop touching, reduce the touch point. So actually, what you can do on a remotely or over a network, rather than being on on the machine, is kind of interesting. Roger talked about automation there, and I mean, one thing, the commercial print industry seems to be a lot further along that road at the moment, integrating machines into factory management systems and such like. But what is that a key trend that you see if you look at the sheet fed side of the business, or are you about as far integrated as you're able to go in terms of automation and integration into factory networks?
Well, most new machines, they are connected to the factory. Let's say this has been for the past 15 years, but we were not connecting each and every machine. Now, for the past 5 years, we are connecting each and every machine. This is, of course, a norm and a trend in all machinery, and even in the label, Flexo, digital, even some finishing machineries now can be connected. Now, this helps a lot of reducing the service on the machines, and more important, putting a benchmark for the printer, what he's doing compared to others. So this sometimes can help to improve the productivity of some of the equipment. I'll give you an example, like a printer runs an XL 106 at an average speed of 15,000. But some others are doing it at an average speed of 16,000, 17,000. So that printer can ask his production team what's wrong, why we are not reaching Is it cleaning? Is it service? Is it maintenance? Is it so? It helps us. It helps the customer in putting the machine at a higher productivity levels.
Okay. And if you look at things like automated plate change, and these are the things, Roger, where do you see automation on the machine? Are we heading towards the lights out operation at some point?
Well, you know, automation is always, you know, after all, it's the make ready time. The make ready time and the printing time. You know, now everybody wants a shorter make ready time and a longer period to print. Short runs, shorter period to print. But anyway, make ready time is the key. Now, it comes to autoplay change or to cleaning or to sending the job or to sending the plate. Now, there are a lot of automation on the presses, and the new presses that were to be shown in Drupa from Heidelberg, there is a new computer, not to plate, to the machine directly. With certain automation, the plate goes into the machine directly. But it helps depending on the type of job for the customers. If he has a lot of short runs, or you know, if you have 10 jobs a day or 15 or 20 jobs a day, those kind of automations can help. But it's all together. It's the workflow, it's the automation, it's you know, the cleaning, it's the color management, all goes together to improve the productivity of your machine.
Thank you. Thank you. Hassan, how are you seeing technology trends in the digital sector?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. How are you seeing what technology machinery trends are you seeing in your market sector?
Okay. Do you mean the growth in which sector?
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, in terms of technology trends.
Technology trend. Now, I could see that the hybrid systems, which is mixed flexo and digital, gonna have big growth. Okay, because people, they cannot leave the traditional way because you know you need the special effects, whatever. In digital, pure digital, entry level or medium, less than $100,000, there is lots market. I will not say it's big. I will say it's unlimited. If we look, what's our vision in this business is to go outside the printing industry and to target anybody outside the printing industry, not inside the printing industry. So any end user, any factory, any freelancer, he could be a user for a printer or digital label printer. So the growth is unlimited, I would see it. The main challenge in digital labeling is the finishing. Finishing is still not fast enough, okay, and still it's not easy to afford it because you know finishing systems really expensive till now, okay. So, but I believe very soon there will be economical solutions from all over the world for the finishing. So it looks very promising, the digital.
You mean things like a laser die cutting?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Pankaj and Jay, how are you seeing technology trends from your point of view?
I think Pankaj can go for this.
Yeah, so how do you see technology developing in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, we predominantly agree with most of our peer group that yeah, technology short runs more are digital, but also people want to expand. But what we see is also yeah, industry, the mixture of industry. For example, many of the offset customers want have already gone into labels into flexibles wants to run short jobs, and then when it comes to they do have a basic knowledge about that, for example, flexo. But when it comes to running short job and being more productive, technology like faster machine ready time or automation and so on helps them to simplify the process and also be productive. So that is, I think that is the way it is moving more and more. And even the industry as a label, they are is maturing. So yeah, what we see is that people who have been doing traditional labels now, they want to do aluminum foils, to flexible packaging, to IML, and so on. So that way, there is a growth when it comes to or the higher interact level, or how they want to handle the industry. So that way, this is how we think the industry is moving.
Thank you, And Vinesh, as a printer, how do you what do you see as being the most interesting technology trends in terms of perhaps hybrid printing or perhaps digital finishing? Where do you see the industry moving?
So as you know, I spoke already that small jobs are more in the market. And there are two questions I just want to you ask other panelists, which I like to share it, like, you know, the technology which you are talking about, the machines on that. Any new machines you are buying, it's coming with a lot of new technology. Some value added is already there in every machines, because it's not that, you know, you have some old machines which can be some where you can upgrade it, some you cannot upgrade it, but all the new machine will come new technology. And what I see today, hybrid is going to be more answer, or you take a fast digit, because we are lucky to have a 3 technology in our digital, which we have a dry toner, wet toner, and inject, and which given us really experience that it is complementing each other, and we can do even the thinner material in the small run, which, you know, the market is growing every manner. Our demand is there for the small run in the shrink film and the long run in that film also. Now coming back on Roger, a little bit of job which he said about Al Ghurair has put the investment. I know it's a very big machine and very fantastic technology put by Heidelberg there. But you know that the biggest change happened here, offset seat feeder in the Dubai is almost gone down. Almost. It has gone 30% the market trend. And certain people like Al Ghurair and other things, they invested heavily to become the player in the coming out in the, you know, the in-mold label or certain things. But technology is definitely coming in the sector, and it will be definitely we see hybrid is the more demand. It's going to be a one finishing line, so you know you can print, you can evaluate either maybe varnish or one color or maybe something foil or something, and then you can finish the job. So this will be going to be the new trend in the market, and I see that future will be specialized, like you go in more or you go this one, because in digital also you can do small, because at present the biggest in-mold challenges was Turkey in my viewpoint of view, because their pricing was very, very different. But because the production scale happened in Dubai and COVID-19, they will get the job more. But again, we have to see how long it can be economical and how it can be, capital cost can be absorbed so soon.
Thank you, Vinesh. Thank you. And just the next technology zone that we're going to be running at Label Expo, which next one will be the US show in Chicago in June. So we'll be having a feature area there on digital finishing. So we'll be looking at brilliant developments in inkjet finishing systems, whether it's varnishing or whether it's high build, X, Y, or in line. Just seem to be a lot of very interesting developments going on there as well. So the industry is, you know, just continually pushing forward. And so at the next Europe show, our feature area will be flexible packaging, digital flexible packaging, also conventional. And as I say, at the US show, it'll be digital finishing. Great. So I'm aware that we're running out of time. It's amazing how quickly time goes when you start chatting about the industry. I could go on all afternoon. But just the one quick question which I'd like to ask you all really to finish, and it's about sustainability. And sustainability, I think, has many different aspects, whether it's putting LED lamps instead of mercury lamps onto a flexo press, or perhaps hybrid curing systems, whether it's the way that you handle liner waste, whether it's waste reduction. So I wonder if we could just go to each of you in turn and really sort of talk about the main sustainability initiatives which your company is undertaking, and what you think are going to be the sustainability trends of the future. So Vinesh, I wonder if we could, you're on the front line, sustainability. I wonder perhaps if you could give us your view.
Yeah, COVID-19 has really given something to mankind, is very different challenges. And sustainability is one of the key factors. And Kimoa takes sustainability very seriously about it. You know that we are the only printer in the Gulf where we don't use solvent. We are having a solar, 35% of our power comes from solar. We are a US Green Building Council Gold Standard certified building. And we have automatic waste extraction plant. And we are just coming out with lots of product with a linerless. And so that will be, we are trying to work it out how this can be, expand, because in certain region it is some market we identified, and we see that it is going to be a different market because it will add to the sustainability. And we use also very product from the people who has a special less effect in the market, because on the digital side has helped us more on sustainability. Waste has come down, no ink wastage, no cleaning, water, chemicals. It has gone everything down. So it has overall helped in Kimoa's policy generally. What we are green, and we have number of awards in the green initiative what we are taking.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinesh. It's been interesting to watch linerless technology. I mean, it's established in the VIP logistics sector, but we haven't really seen it taken off in the prime label market, the main branding label market. So it'll be very interesting. We'll keep in touch about that, Vinesh, as you go forward. Jay or Pankaj, could you perhaps talk about sustainability from your point of view?
Pankaj, you're going, or should I go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I see is that sustainability is one of the most big priorities for most of the machine manufacturers. Also, they are realizing that we need to decrease the footprint. So they are now going in for machines which can handle a wide variety of substrates. Most of these substrates, they are reducing the GSM. They are adding additives to make it environmentally faster degrading. And this is where we see the market will move and has to move. The way things are going in the future, this is the only way that we can survive, all of us. Even in the materials, we see a lot of new innovations coming in, and that is where the technology is also coming in. Like you said, for the linerless, yes, linerless is one of the best solutions for the kind of disposal issues that we have for the self-adhesive materials. And yeah, that is definitely coming in. We can see a lot of customers are now going towards polyester shrink instead of PVC shrink, so that it's a big change. It adds cost, but it's also helping the environment a lot. And on the ink side, we can see a lot of development. The inks are becoming low migration. They are more easy to get, more FDA certified, and so yeah, we can see that the entire shift is going on in the good direction, and yeah, it will be really helping all the customers in the future also. Yeah, that's it from my side.
I think also that there's been a big push now with the move towards against single-use plastics, and the ability to separate out label materials from, for example, PET containers. So that's very interesting to watch what people like Avery and Raflatac are doing, and the adhesives guys, switchable adhesives and such like. I agree with you. I think it's exciting times, and we've before COVID, perhaps everybody spoke about sustainability, but now there's a real drive behind it. I think that's legislation and brand-wise. Hassan, from your point of view, what are the main aspects of sustainability as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, everybody knows that digital is very sustainable. The applications where you can go, it's no issue with the sustainability. As Jay said that for the polyester things, it's more with the digital. Digital can't work well in PVC, so customers, if they have to go for PET or polyester, they have to go for paper, environment friendly, etc., etc. Yeah, so I agree with their notes.
Cheyenne?
Well, I think sustainability is multifaceted and multi-fold question, and all I can say in a very small wordings is that every individual now in their possession, whatever they are doing, have this subconscious allotment now that they would like to do something which reduces the carbon footprint, whether it is by traveling less, whether it is buying more materials which are suggesting that subconscious guidance in the mind, whether it is reducing the waste from the printer point of view. Let's say what Mr. Vimani has added from the printer points of view, he has perhaps achieved all ticks box. Many of the printers, I rather hope or rather desire that would like to go with those checklists and try to implement those in the print shops. From machine manufacturers' point of view, we would like to even allow the printers to support their requirements for those point of view. Let's say you also have to have a machine which can do liner-less printing. So technology is supporting. The customers are coming in forward to take that special step to take that technology into the account and educating the further supply chain to support them that you can also use the liner-less materials, and whether it's a labeling machine and so on in the further line. So all in all, I think every individual has subconsciously got well aware that they need to do something to reduce the footprint. Those who are the ones who really are serious about that they want to leave a better world to their children. I mean, those who are having a deep marwana, I mean, they of course care nothing about the world, so that's a different story. Yeah. But in general, on in all, I think everybody wants to contribute one way or the other.
That's interesting. So you see a possible move towards, from Peter's point of view, perhaps the construction of lineless materials on the press and then the printing in line. Is this
whether it is reducing the waste, whether it is bringing more automatic behavior of the machine, whether it is reducing the first print registration. Imagine if you have to throw 50-meter material or 100-meter material before. Now, if you only have to let go 20 meters, you have achieved 80% of saving in the setup time, and that reduces in one way or the other the carbon footprint. Eventually, you're not printing plastic. You see, so right. The technology is helping to create less waste. Even if the waste is created, there are sincere institutions like Kimoha who has a further solutions for that waste, and so on and so forth. So there is a sense of 360-degree, I would say, participant. Everybody like to do their bit. I mean, or Pankaj can agree that, like Umed, Peter, or for that matter, Roger can agree. We can't have paper. We have to make it by steel. And when we have to make it by steel, whatever the carbon footprint is, steel takes. But then what technology is very efficient, that has been there now to all our companies, and I think everybody is trying to do it that way, reducing the setup time, bringing the line and less support systems, and any other means and mediums to support the carbon footprint gain.
Right, thank you. Roger, finally, I know that there are multiple aspects that you could talk about at Heidelberg, from carbon neutral machine manufacturing and production, perhaps the end of the mercury UV curing lamps. What will be the main aspects of Heidelberg's sustainability drive?
Well, first of all, I don't want to repeat what everyone mentioned now, because whatever was mentioned earlier about sustainability applies to all. Our job here now is to help our customers be more clean, be more sustainable in the way they are doing their business, by offering them machines that are more productive, by giving them recyclable material, by being more, teaching them how to be more flexible overall, and not to have more waste, and not to have more processes, reduce their processes to achieve the same. So it works all together. And our job is a consultancy job with our customers on giving them the path how to achieve this type of sustainability. And we have been trying hard with most of our customers to really even sometimes educating them how to be more sustainable.
Great, thank you, Roger. So with that, we've run out of time, I'm afraid. So I'm going to have to bring this first session to a close. So you've been watching the GPP, so first of our virtual seminars. The next seminar will be looking at the commercial print industry, and we'll be looking also at the wide format industry. But I think it's really been a fantastic and fascinating discussion. I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Pankaj Patel, Jay Chorda, Vinesh Bahami, Hassan Kitane, Shyam Babu, and Roger Nicodeme. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It's much appreciated. And I very, very much hope everybody keeps well and safe, and to see you all in person at the next trade show. I don't care where it is, who's running it, but I'll be there, and hopefully we can shake hands by then. That'd be great. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Nice to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.